Good. I just wanted to confirm with you one more time about the way we'll divide up roles in our united force.
Yes. That is important, but before that I need to inform you of something. The eastern gate into Dwargon is being blockaded by the Empire's force.
Yes, we have it on screen here. I'll send it to you.
Rimuru pointed the Argos system toward Imperial lands.
It's just like you told us, isn't it? When I heard about the enemy defector, I suspected it was a trap. But perhaps we can trust that man a little.
Oh, I don't know yet. There's no doubt that Ghidorah's given up on the Empire, but I'm not sure I'd trust him right now.
Ha! Tell me how you really feel then. I'm quite glad to hear that from you.
The envoy I sent to the Empire is just being given the runaround by them, it seems. By our laws, Dwargon can launch the first attack only as a last resort.
That's a disadvantage for us. But we dwarves pride ourselves on it, and so we must wait for the Empire to act. You don't need to join us in that credo, but what are your plans exactly?
The Imperial forces have invaded our territory without warning or permission. We cannot shut our eyes to this, and we are considering strong measures in response, including military options.
You're starting to sound more like a king every day. Excellent. You invited them so deep into your territory because you intended to intercept them here from the start, didn't you?
Of course. We could have fought them at the border, but if we do that, they might try framing it as self-defense against a monster invasion or something later on.
I like your force of personality, but I have to take points off for revealing all that. Be that as it may, I don't want anything slogging us down. With our militaries in particular, we can't afford to have any discord. So let me spell it out for you. I am going to leave our negotiations with the Empire to the Jura Tempest Federation. If, after that, you decide open warfare is the option to take, then let the armed nation of Dwargon act on their alliance with Tempest and join the fray.
Thank you. I feel a lot better hearing that.
Don't be silly. You must have expected this to happen from the beginning.
Based on my own knowledge, I am aware of a weapon called a tank from my own world as well. They use controlled explosions of gunpowder to send metal shells flying through the air.
Are you telling me that magic defenses won't work?
Exactly. You'd need a full magic barrier to fend it off.
I knew it. I suppose all of us think the same way.
We, too, have been working on a magic armor soldier project to prepare us for the new era. It's not a matter of can we or can't we, really. We're just going to. That's all I can tell you.
Well, ain't that reassuring? Best of luck out there.
We're on it. That's how I ended my exchange with Gazelle. As final confirmations went, I thought it was pretty good.
That's all the confirmation you need, right?
It will suffice. We have a pledge from him that we can do whatever we like.
Benimaru nodded in agreement.
The time had come. Now that we'd reached this point, we didn't have to wait for the Empire to make a move. We were all ready to go here, so why not kick things off officially? Justice was on our side. The Imperial forces had invaded deep into the forest of Jura. That was Demon Lord territory, and there was no sugarcoating that. Now we needed to negotiate things so we'd look like we were panicked, and definitely not aware of every single thing they were up to. So who to order for it? Gobta and Gabil weren't exactly proper diplomats, and more importantly, they weren't very good negotiators, especially Gabil. Looking back to our first encounter, I'm never going to send him on any envoy work. So I decided to order Testarossa out. With her, at least, I knew she wouldn't get killed if the Empire decided to shoot first and ask questions later. Maybe it was all a farce, but we did need to offer a promise. I think it's just fine to launch a preemptive attack without saying anything. But when you're a demon lord, the way you act kind of matters.
While thinking that Rimuru sent telepathic communication to Testarossa,
Testarossa, I have an order for you.
As Rimuru and Gazelle were talking on their contact terminals, Gobta's 1st Army Corps, with around 12,000 soldiers, and Gabil's 3rd Corps, around 3,000, had gathered together behind the Grand Gate into the Dwarven Kingdom, approximately 15,000 in all. They had not entered the cave itself, but were camped in a large open square at the outer edge. The evacuation of everyone in the inn-town was successfully completed, and now they were waiting for the Empire's next move. No messenger had come from the Empire yet, no surrender order ferried to them, but everyone gathered here could sense that the war was about to begin. The Dwarven army was also hurriedly preparing for combat. The Royal Order of Dwarves consisted of 7 divisions, and 2 of them, the Engineering Division and the Magic Support Division, were busily reinforcing the main gate and erecting a temporary barrier. An earthen wall built up with earth magic could have a fire spell applied to it to instantly make it stouter than a brick equivalent, enhance it even further, and you had a virtual barrier of iron. Thus, in a very fluid process, a tri-layer defense wall was built outside the main gate, and as work continued on it, the Royal Order's heavy strike division sprang into action. The officers and soldiers were covered head to toe in magical gear, but despite that, they all nimbly lined up in formation. Some sort of event must have taken place. But Gobta and his army didn't pay it much mind. As the dwarves busied themselves, the first and third corps were all relaxing in their own ways. Gobta and Gabil were sitting on the ground, having a friendly meal together. Next to them, for some reason, there was a table setting, complete with an extravagant parasol. Sitting on its white chairs were Testarossa and Ultima, who appeared to be enjoying a little tea party. They were being served by Veyron, looking every part like a staffer at a tropical resort.
Hey, this is really good. It feels so manly, yeah? Great stuff.
Indeed, my goblin friend. I am just as satisfied. This delicate flavoring. And the more you chew, the more flavor seeps out of it. Truly a delight for the taste buds.
Gobta and Gabil were offering high praise to a meal prepared by Zonda, Ultima's underling.
As a chef, it is a tremendous honor to have two army generals offer me such praise. My specialty is court palace cuisine, so this kind of camp food is out of my expertise. Please forgive me if anything displeases you.
With that, Zonda bowed gracefully and retreated to Ultima's side.
It's not to my taste. You're not offering enough dishes either. I wish there was more variety.
I think you've got a point there. Going with these roasts and this basic hot pot, it's just way too skimpy. You've come to know Shuna and Mr. Yoshida by now. Hone your skills and make yourself more useful to us.
I'm deeply sorry.
No, Zonda, not at all. And I'm sure Ultima completely approves of your skill. The problem, I imagine, lies not in the taste.
The sudden remark drew the attention of everyone around them.
Huh? What do you mean by that?
Thank you for asking, Gobta. How to put it? My younger sister gripes at me all the time, you see. She keeps saying I should think about things from a more feminine perspective.
What do you mean by that?
That's the thing, Gobta. Here we are, enjoying this meal, not worrying about whoever might be seeing us. But Testarossa and Ultima can't afford to follow our lead in that respect, no?
Now Zonda understood what Gabil was driving at.
Gee, Gabil, that's a very good point. Not the kind of thing you normally say at all either.
No, it's something I'm working on as well, you see. Of course, it's honestly more something Sir Rimuru taught me, but...
Gabil began to spin an anecdote from when he asked Rimuru for advice not long ago.
Rimuru, I said to him, I want to be as popular with the women as you are. What do you suggest I do?
You're asking me that? Because look, I'm still a Virg. Never mind. Gabil, let me give you this piece of wisdom. If you want girls to like you, you gotta learn how to be delicate. Do that, and they'll naturally flock to you.
That, Gabil proudly explained, was what Rimuru had told him.
Then I remembered what Soka told me, and it dawned on me that Rimuru was just advising me not to do anything a woman wouldn't like, the most basic of things.
Everyone was impressed by Gabil's impassioned argument.
Lady Ultima, Lady Testarossa, please accept my apology. I promise I will do my best to meet your expectations the next time I cook for you.
With a graceful bow, Zonda stepped in front of Ultima and Testarossa and took a knee.
Look at that! You've got quite a talented servant. And meanwhile, look at mine.
What are you talking about? Moss seems perfectly useful to me, and if Cien's working in your place, Ult, he must be incredibly good at paperwork, right? My servants are more about manual labor, so I envy you having someone you can assign those kinds of chores to.
Well, Testa, maybe you're right. No point asking for what you can't have, though.
Testarossa and Ultima continued talking, all but ignoring the kneeling Zonda. Their attitude might have seemed cold to Gobta and the rest, but it was actually quite the opposite.
Boy, it's tough being a lady, huh? Like, I guess they're asking you for that thing where you have to cut it into small bites so it's easier to eat, right?
Gobta, that's the sort of thing you should never say out loud, no matter how strongly you feel about it. It's the first step, you see, to becoming a gentleman. That, yes, that was what Sir Rimuru taught me.
No, I understand that, okay? But this is a battlefield. You gotta eat when you can and not ask for fancy stuff. As a core leader, I think that's the right way to act around here.
As long as I can eat, Gupta thought, what's it matter what it is? And given they were in a soon-to-be war zone, he felt justified pointing out how selfish it was to say something like that.
Gupta's a pretty funny guy. That was actually hilarious.
You said it. I'm so glad I'm assigned to him.
Ultima and Testarossa were all smiles. Their eyes, on the other hand, weren't smiling at all. Oh man, thought everybody but Gupta, these demons are serious trouble.
Whoa, Gupta. Commander Gupta, let's keep it at that. I'm sure our intelligence officers understand, so...
It was Gopchi, one of Gupta's aides-de-camp, who hurriedly stepped up to stop him. He knew Gupta enough to realize that his superior officer had no ill intentions. He was just expressing his honest opinion.
Gupta, you really shouldn't be lecturing those two.
And as he predicted, Gupta was in a terrifyingly dangerous situation. Testarossa and Ultima weren't angry or anything. They simply thought he was an interesting toy. But if a pair of primal demons thought of him as a toy, it meant nothing less than Gupta's life hanging in the balance. But then a miracle happened.